On May 13th, 2023, I took the DELE C2 exam for Spanish, and even though I failed it, I still learned a lot of things, like the structure of the exam and things to improve on. And eventually, in the future, I will pass this exam with flying colors. Leading up to the exam, I'd say, if I'm doing NAP and math, around 70% of my studying was listening, 20% was reading, 9% was writing, and 1% was speaking. And leading up to the exam, I had a lot of emotions. I thought that I was going to do very well in the speaking, and I was focusing a lot of my attention on listening and reading. And you're probably thinking, what was I thinking like right before I was taking the exam, and what did I think the day of? So there's this app. It's not sponsored, but it's called DELE, and it's basically a journaling app. Every day since 2019, I journal every single one of my days, what I do for the day and my emotions and things like that. So I'll read my journal for May 13th, 2023. The reading and listening parts of the test killed me. The reading was harder than any novel I've ever read. It felt like un libro al día, and I swear they're making up words. The listening was tough because I barely got time to write down my question. The speaking and writing are the areas where I know I did well. The speaking especially went well. So a couple months later, I got back my C2 exam score, and it looked, that's not the right screen. Yeah, it looked like this. So they sent me a PDF, and I had to crop some of it because it had some confidential information on there. So as you'll know, well, obviously this is in Spanish, and I created a separate, I guess, table for this in Google Docs that I'll explain shortly. So even if you don't know any Spanish, you'll see the giant no right here, which means I didn't pass it. So you have, basically in my English version of the table, which I'll show you shortly, I condensed the information. Like for example, where it says the third row, where it says like 17.31, 17.31 again, that's basically the same thing. So I condensed that down. Then the giant part at the bottom, I couldn't figure out how to remove the column border in Google Docs. So if you translated all of this into English, it looked, I want to make sure that's the right screen. Yeah. It looks something like this. So the test is comprised of 3 sections. I guess I'll call them tests. So you have test 1, which is covering language use, reading comprehension, and listening comprehension. Test 2 covers integrated skills like listening comprehension, reading comprehension, writing expression, and interaction. And test 3 covers integrated skills again, which is reading, but more importantly, it covers speaking, which is oral expression and interaction. So these are 3 sections of the test. I want to make sure I'm actually on the right screen. I can't afford to mess this up. Yeah, I am. So there's 3 sections to the test, and in order to pass the entire exam, you have to pass all 3 tests. It doesn't matter if you pass two sections but fail 1, you still don't pass the test. You have to pass all 3. So it's out of 100 points. Each test or each section is a third of that, so 33.33 for each section, and you have to get at least 20 points out of that 33, out of those 33 points in order to pass each test or each section. So for test 1, you'll see that I got 17.31. The minimum score I had to get in order to pass was 20, so I got close on that. Test 2, I got 12.5, which was really bad, and you need to get at least 20. But for test 3, which is actually the speaking part, I got a 27, not percent, I guess, I guess percent, a score of 27, where the minimum was 20 to pass. So it's kind of interesting how I spent roughly 1% of all my studying time speaking. And you think that speaking would be my worst area from like these statistics right here, but surprisingly enough, it's the area that I pass with flying colors. I barely ever speak. I'm a very introverted person. I don't really speak that much with native speakers, nor do I even output like at my screen. So it's kind of interesting how the speaking was the section that I did the best on. Yet the areas where I focused the most amount of my time in, which was listening and reading, I failed both of those sections. So it's kind of interesting how that works. So yeah, since I only passed 1 out of the 3 sections, I did not pass the test. but at least I passed the speaking section. So in this video, I'll go over the different parts of the test if you're preparing for this. I guess this might be applicable to like C1 and C2 tests, or like C1 tests as well. So I'll go over what to expect during the test and how to prepare for it. And yeah, after that, I'll go over what I'll be working on in the future and how I'll eventually get my levels up to where I can hopefully pass this test again in the future. So for each section of the C2 test, what I did is I just wrote down each component of each section, the required task that you have to do, and I also gave the page number. So I'll put this link in the description. So there exists mock C2 exams online on the official website. So this is like a PDF of a mock exam. I'll put this link to where to download this in the description. So I'll go over each task of each section, and I also have the page numbers here. So keep in mind, when I say like page 4, I'm going by the page 4 of the PDF. So page 4 would be this page right here. Even though this says 3, it's page 4. So I'm just going by the PDF. So the first thing I had to do was, reading comprehension, which is choose the most appropriate word out of 3 words, fill in the blank. So for this one, you'll be given 2 paragraphs. I don't know if it'll be 2 paragraphs, but you'll be given text, and you have blanks, and you have to choose the best word that fits inside the blank. So for number 1, you have to choose the best word out of these 3, out of A, B, and C for column 1, that fits inside of here. And this one was really difficult for me, even though I spent the vast majority of my time that I spent in Spanish was reading. Actually, not. Sorry, I apologize. Well, the vast majority of my time has been spent with input, and even so, a lot of these words felt like they were made up. Like, I swear, these words did not. These words, they made these words up on the spot. I swear, like, a lot of these words were so difficult that I feel like they had to have made them up, or like they didn't exist. So this section was really hard for me, and I had to do a lot of guessing on this section. So that's the first task. The second task you have to do is choose the best locations to place 6 texts. There's 1 text that does not belong. So for this one, you'll read some text, probably a bunch of paragraphs, and each paragraph has a sentence that, or I guess a blank at the end of each paragraph. And what you'll have to do, actually I should clarify first, they give you the answers, but they don't give you all the answers. So for this one, there's something like 6, 7 of these, but they only show you 2 answers. So obviously you have to fill in the blanks. Like you see for this one, there is no answer, but they do have answers for 17 and 13. So the point of this is to fill in the best. You have to put in the best. How do I explain this? The best sentence that fits within that paragraph, and more than one of these. Let me clarify this. There's 1 text that does not belong, so you'll basically be given something like 7 or 8 of these text fragments, and there's 1 that doesn't belong, and you just write in. Well, it's a Scantron, but you would choose the letter of what sentence fits best in the text fragments. This one was also really hard for me. It's really difficult when there's a lot of new words in a single paragraph. So, in the future I will focus a lot more on novels and, I guess getting good at, learning more vocabulary in fiction novels, especially like flowery vocabulary. That's something I need to work on in the future. The third task of test 1 is choose a sentence that best corresponds with the paragraph. More than 1 paragraph can be chosen. So this is page 7 and 8. So you will be given a bunch of text. This is numbered A through F. You read the text, and then after that, you have to choose which I guess, which, or let me rephrase this. You'll be given questions, I guess, sentences, and you have to choose which paragraph best, paragraph that this sentence summarizes. So, for example, this sentence best summarizes the seventh, or the paragraph F. This question best summarizes paragraph 1, and they don't show all of them because then this PDF would be a lot longer. But that's the general idea behind this task. This one was also this one was tough, but it wasn't as tough as the previous two. Next, see, we did 7 and 8. So yeah, 9 and 10, or pages 9 and 10 is listening comprehension. Choose 5 out of the 12 sentences that summarizes audio. So for this one, obviously you can't put audio inside a PDF. So you're gonna hear this out loud through the testing. When you go in person, they're gonna have speakers that play this text out loud. You listen to it. I think, yeah, you listen to it 2 times, and after that, you choose, right. Yeah, for I keep forgetting, for this PDF, they don't show all the answers. So in reality, they're going to give you, this is going to be like A through F. It's, I don't know if F isn't the 12th one of the alphabet. I think it's I. So in reality, this is going to be A through I. And if you see this blue one here, this is the one that actually corresponds to the text. So basically, out of the 12 sentences, there's going to be 5 that actually summarize or correspond to the text. And then the other 7 aren't going to correspond to it at all. And you have to select the correct sentences out of all the options. This one was actually pretty easy. I remember the speaker he was a Peruvian guy, and the accent wasn't, even though I don't listen to audio of Peruvian people. I guess the accent wasn't really that off-putting, and I could still understand it. And the topic was something about the role of like government or something like that. And I felt like I did well in this section. It was a lot easier than the other sections. Next, we have listening comprehension again. So you listen to an audio of a man and woman talking, and you write the gender of who said the sentence. I'm saying gender here because I don't want to say the S word on YouTube. I'll get demonetized. The other S word, obviously. Also be prepared to write if no one said the sentence. So for this one, you'll listen to a man and a woman talking. First it says the woman will be speaking, then the man will be speaking, and I don't know how many options. Let's see, 39 through 53. So yeah, this is going to be 14 different options in real life, and based on whoever said what, you have to put the correct gender. So for example, since the woman spoke certain parts of the text and the man spoke certain parts, you have to choose who said the sentence, or who, I guess, said the idea of the sentence. So for example, for number 40, this idea was expressed by the man. It's M is mujer, so woman, H is man, hombre. So number 40, the man was the one who expressed this idea. For number 41, the woman was the one who expressed this idea. And sometimes there's not going to be any, no one expressed the idea. So you have to put N for no one, or nada. So yeah, this one was also especially difficult, I think, because I guess I feel like the audio is always bad in these, and they're slurring over their own words. So this one was pretty tough for me. So let's see. This is 11 and 12. And next we have listening comprehension, answer questions according to the audio, 13 and 14. So you'll listen to an interview, and you will listen to it 2 times. This one, the topic, it had to do something about like graphic design, or like creating some sort of like a comic book and creating a certain character, some old Disney character. It was like Twinkle Bell or something like that. This one was pretty difficult for me because I feel like they were slurring over their own words, and I I guess the audio didn't feel like it was the best. It's different when people are speaking off the cuff versus from a transcript. So you'll have two people speaking, and you'll have to, let's see, how many questions? 47 to 52. So yeah, they will give you, I can do basic math. Yeah, that's 5 questions. So you have to choose which sentence best aligned with what the ideas ideas were expressed. So like for this one, B best corresponds to what the ideas were expressed were. Next, we have the second section, which they call test 2, or I guess you can maybe call it quiz 2, and that has to do with writing. So write a text between 400 and 450 words, and I was assigned with writing a letter of recommendation for a student. So I had to imagine that I'm like a professor, and I have to imagine that there's a student coming to me asking for a letter of recommendation to get into some university or accept a scholarship, and I have to write that letter for them. And it's important to note that you also have to keep in mind keeping like a formal tone. Like, do you say ustedes or vosotros? Do you say tú or usted? Those are the types of questions that you have to ask yourself, because this is supposed to be a formal sort of thing. So this is page 16 through 19. And let's see here. So they give you certain, I guess, input material. It's not like you don't get anything to, or I should explain this better. It's not like they say, do this, and then you have to write it. They do give you some material to, I guess, base your writing off of. So they will give you audio of things to write off of and things like that. So, see, there's 16 through 19. So yeah, you will hear like audio, and I think I was also given a short set of instructions, and you'll have to write pen on paper the text, the appropriate text. The only thing I'm confused about this, or the only thing that I am confused about, is that it said that the text has to be between 400 and 450 words. Like, do they expect you to actually count out every single word when you're writing it down? Because it's not like you're writing it with a computer, it's with a pen and paper. So this is something I'm not really too sure on. Maybe it's best to go overboard, but come on, are you really supposed to get it exactly between 400 and 450 words when you're writing it like one time with a pencil and paper? Anyway, that's something that you will have to do. Let's see. Yeah. Next we have, this one is page 20. This one is rewrite and correct a text between 150 and 250 words, changing the vocabulary and tone to what is asked. So yeah, for this one, you will be given a text and you have to correct it. So there's different grammar mistakes and like vocabulary things, and it's basically it's incorrect Spanish, and you have to correct it to be correct Spanish. So you have to change things, like changing the grammar, choosing maybe if there's a better vocabulary word to choose, you choose that, and yeah, you convert incorrect Spanish into correct Spanish. And it's not that much. It's fewer words than the previous one. Only did I mess up the text? 150. Wait a minute. 250, and I might have messed up the amount of words that it's supposed to be in between. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, so the original text is 250 to 275 words, but the text that, wait a minute, I went to the third one. Yeah, never mind. I accidentally messed this up. This is supposed to be 250 to 275. So that's how many words that is supposed to be, and you're rewriting a certain piece of text. This one, I felt like I did okay on it, but there's a lot of words, like especially in academics in school, that I'm not too familiar with. So that's something I do have to brush up on. and it's hard to like say exactly how well I thought I did, because with listening and reading parts, it's easy to know if I understand it or not. But with writing, there's a lot more wiggle room, and there's not really an instantaneous feedback of whether, like, I don't know if I'm choosing the correct word and things like that. So next we have the third part of the second section of the test, which is write a short text between 200 and 250 words based on statistics and graphs. So the topic that I was given was about the benefits of getting children to read early in their lives. The topic won't be the same for you, but I guess that'll be I don't know. Even though the topic won't be the same, I'm just saying it just for the sake of saying it. Maybe it'll help you out. So you'll be given things like pie charts, bar graphs, and like little snippets of text and things like that. And you have to write a specific genre of text. So they show like the different types of drawings that you will be given. And basically, it's not going to be exactly one type of one style of text. It could, as it says here, it could be like a report, an article, like a blog entry, and you have to be ready for the different types of media that you're supposed to write. So yeah, this is some example of what could appear for, I guess, your input. I think mine was some sort of a pie chart. It's hard exactly to remember, but yeah, you'll be given images and drawings, and you have to base your text using the statistics that they provide. So that was page 21. Next thing, the final section, which was the test, the section that I did the best on, which is speaking. So in order to do the speaking test, first you do reading comprehension, which is read short articles and interpret graphs on a topic. And the topic that I was given was planned obsolescence and its impacts. So it's a good thing that I already knew about the concept of planned obsolescence before I took this test, or else I might have been a little bit confused, but it's glad that I already was familiar with the topic. And basically what they gave me was like two or three pieces of paper, and you're given, I didn't write it down here, but it's like 6 to 8 minutes to read these 2 or 3 sheets of paper. Yeah, 6 to 8 minutes. And they also gave me a piece of paper and a pencil. So I wrote down notes because they had like graphics and charts, bar graphs, and I think some pie charts. So I basically wrote down while I was reading it, I wrote down an outline of what I was going to say, because they give you this text to read for reading comprehension, and then you speak based on it. So when they gave me the pencil and the paper, I just wrote down an outline of what I was going to talk about and get my thoughts together. Like write down, like if I knew I was going to mention a certain statistic later, I'd be sure to write down like shorthand for, I remember like they had statistics based on the average lifespan of household appliances. Like the average phone lasts this long, the average dishwasher lasts this long. And I put down statistics like that on my outline that I wrote down. And this text was really easy to read. I feel like I understood a lot of, like all of the material. So this part was really easy. Next was the actual speaking. So you give a 5 to 6 minute speech on what was just read, and you respond to questions that the interviewers asked. So they'll give you, actually I didn't go over this, but they'll give you graphs, like I said before, and examples of the articles, I guess the news articles that you'll be reading. So during the actual speaking, which is page 27, I walked into a room. There were two women there, and first they asked me like, where are you from? How long have you been learning Spanish? I guess as like an icebreaker. And yeah, after that I started, I think they asked me questions on the impacts of planned obsolescence and everything about it. So I looked at my outline and I just spoke based off of what I had read and following the general structure of my outline. And I did that for I might have gone overboard accidentally. It's not like I might have gotten like 3/4 of the way through my speech before they just had to cut me off, I think. So it's good that I spoke more than it's good to go overboard, not, not less. So this section or this speaking part was actually the easiest part out of the entire test. And I knew that before I took the test, I knew that I was going to do well. And during speaking, I knew that I was really doing well because I remember I used the word chapucero and they started laughing. So yeah, this section was pretty easy, even though I don't have that much speaking experience. I guess listening and reading to a lot of stuff subconsciously helps with speaking. So yeah, this was one section that I passed, and I feel it's hard to say that I feel comfortable with speaking, but I guess I do. Maybe the section or the bar for how good your speaking is versus how good your writing is a lot lower, because I guess they expect you to make a certain amount of mistakes when you're speaking versus writing. So maybe that's why I did so well on the speaking. So yeah, this is an example of the questions they'll ask. So after you say your 5 to 6 minute speech, I guess during it, did they ask me questions? No, I don't think so. Yeah, so after I said the 5 to 6 minute speech, they asked me questions about planned obsolescence, like what is the impact, should companies do this and that, things like that, and I think I explained it pretty well. And let's see. Yeah, so the one thing, after they asked me these questions for a couple of minutes, I was given a sheet, I think it was a sheet of paper, it might have been 2 sheets, and I was given something like 10 additional topics that were related to planned obsolescence. And the objective of this third section of speaking is to choose, I think, 2 of the additional topics. Let's see. I can't find it. Well, yeah. So basically, I chose 2 additional topics. And the point of this section, after you get done speaking, is to improvise a conversation with the interviewers on those topics. So yeah, you choose 2 sentences and maybe you ask them questions and you just start talking about whatever related topic that you chose. So the point of that is to, I guess, test not what you rehearse speaking, but your impromptu abilities. So I think I did well on that section, that section as well. And that's it. Yeah. So that was the entire exam. This thing took, I don't know, I'll put the exact number of hours. No, actually, I remember I put it on my, and I guess I'll switch back to my main camera now. I logged this on my Google Sheet page, and it was something like 5.5 hours. So I was dead tired after this. I was very burned out. And a couple months later, I got the score back, and I was disappointed, but at least I passed the speaking section. So I guess what you're asking, right, the question you're asking now is, what do I do now? Am I going to take it again? Yes, of course I'll take it again, but only when I'm ready. Because I think this test was like $220. It was $200, something like that. So it's not like I'm going to take this like 4 or 5 times just to make sure that I pass it. And I want to make sure that the next time I take it, I'm sure that I will pass it. So as of recording this video, it's August 2023, and I'll probably post this, I'll probably take the test again in either May 2024 or December 2024. I might be leaning toward December 2024, but nothing's too set in stone just yet. And I want to make sure that I actually pass this test the next time that I take it. So the things I need to improve on is passive vocabulary. Even though I spent a lot of my time, a lot of my time has been spent reading nonfiction books, and let's see, I guess listening to podcasts. I don't really listen to podcasts anymore, but I watch a lot of YouTube videos. At this point, I can pretty much watch almost any YouTube video and understand it, and even at like 1.25x speed. But I guess the first the first two parts of this C2 exam really messed me up because there were lots of flowery words, lots of words where I had to really strain and try to guess what they were. So what I'll do in the future is read fiction books, like books that have lots of ornate and flowery language, and using that method, hopefully I'll increase my passive vocabulary even more, and hopefully that'll better prepare me for passing the first two sections. So passive vocabulary, even though I feel like my passive vocabulary always isn't that high, it could always be higher. I guess that's the Dunning-Kruger effect for you. Another thing is improving my active vocabulary. So since I don't speak that much, my active vocabulary kind of sucks. It's surprising that I did so well in the speaking section, but as I said before, I don't really speak. I very, very rarely speak with native speakers, and I'm basically 90% of my learning just consists of me watching a YouTube video, me reading a book, not even speaking out loud on just recording it on a random subject, but just like 90% of what I do is input, and maybe like 10%, even less than 10% is output. So my active vocabulary really sucks. And if I change this back just for a moment, you'll see that, I want to get the exact section right. So for the speaking section, it had to do on, this Mediterranean diet. This mock exam, obviously my speaking section had to do on planned obsolescence, but this speaking section for this mock exam had to do on some diet, like food. And I'm so glad that I did not get food, because my food vocabulary is so bad. Even my passive vocabulary for food is really bad. I'm not sure I would have passed the speaking section if I got a section like food, because my active vocabulary is terrible in that region. Then I guess in writing, I don't really write that much in, there's this website called langcorrect.com where you write these writing entries. I talked about this in the past, but I don't really use that much anymore, partly because it was hard to just figure out what I was supposed to write on. Like, was I supposed to watch an entire YouTube video and write about that, or write about my personal thoughts? I just never knew what exactly. I never found like a rhythm or something easy to do every single day. So I'll be working on figuring out a method to write every day in the future. And hopefully through that way, I'll increase my writing abilities and pass the second section of the test. The third thing is listening to unscripted conversations. So basically the listening parts of this exam, where they had the man and the man talking and the woman and the woman talking, those are really difficult for me because I'm used to watching YouTube videos, and a lot of YouTube videos there's a script, so there's a transcript, but with the interviews there is no transcript, so people are going to use slightly different vocabulary, slurring words together, cutting each other off, and things like that. So one of the things I have to really work on is understanding unscripted content. There's this one very famous Spanish YouTube channel called The Wild Project, so I'll be listening to more of that to get better at unscripted conversation, like when people are cutting each other off, and when the audio cuts off, someone accidentally hits the microphone, or they're slurring words. Preparing myself better for those sorts of situations, and hopefully by doing that, I'll increase my chances of passing the first and second sections. So even though I failed this test, it wasn't taken in vain, because at least I passed the speaking portion of this. I can say that, and I got pretty close to if I turn back, I got pretty close to passing the first part. The minimum score was 20. I got 17, so at least I got close on that. But what I really needed work on was the second section, which was listening comprehension, reading comprehension. Ironically, the thing I've done the most of. I need more work on that. So I think I've talked about everything that I've wanted to. I guess if you want to see my daily routine, then you can check out, there'll be a link in the description for this Google Sheets page where since July of 2022, I've been tracking what I do every single day. So if you're ever interested on my daily routine at any part of the year, then you can just check in on that and see what I'm doing. Right now, actually, after I took the test, I had to estimate my chances of passing it. I guess that there was probably like a 50-50 chance of me passing that test after I took it. And I even started studying for the next time I would take the test, like right after I took this test. So right now, I'm reading Cien Años de Soledad, which is, make sure the camera gets this. Yeah, this book. I started reading this 2 years ago, but I never got past the 40th page because maybe I have this personal flaw of having some big ambition, but only getting like 1% of the way through. So I'm going through that now. There's lots of words in in this book that are new, and lots of words that I'm relearning because, as you know, in the past I learned a lot of words incorrectly. Lots of words where I had multiple English definitions for Spanish words and Anki. So I'm relearning lots of ornate words in flowery language, and I plan to finish that book soon, maybe within the next couple months. And through learning a lot of that very, very difficult vocabulary and rare words, I'll be able to put that to good use and pass this test in the future. And maybe another thing that I want to say about my daily routine is that I think that listening to YouTube videos at 1.25x speed was actually a mistake. So I watched all my English YouTube videos at 2x speed, and I thought that I could listen to Spanish content at 1.25x speed in order to save time and just test myself a little bit. But I'm finding that I'm not really paying attention that much to the content and paying attention more to new words, not actually understanding the content. So I'll probably be listening to YouTube videos at normal speed for Spanish at least. So hopefully that will increase my reading comprehension. And I guess from having taken this test, you could say that I don't really need to work on speaking, but I feel like my active vocabulary still sucks. So I have to find out a way to quickly or to easily speak every single day without fail. And I'm thinking maybe a strategy could be speak for 1 minute on any subject. So if I watch a YouTube video, then I could speak for at least 1 minute on that. If I don't have anything to say, or if I haven't watched any YouTube videos, I could just speak for 1 minute on my own thoughts or 1 minute on a book, anything like that. And obviously, this is kind of inspired from the previous video of the 1 minute rule where I talked about my habits. So yeah, I've talked about how I'll improve reading, improving. I'm slurring over my words. This is like 40 minutes in. I've talked about how I'll improve my passive vocabulary through reading Cien Años de Soledad. How I will improve my my listening comprehension through listening to content at normal speed, and also listening to unscripted content as well. For writing, that's a big area that I need to improve on. So I'll probably start up my writing streak again and write about, I guess, any topic that it's kind of hard to choose topics. Like some days where I don't watch YouTube videos, I find it difficult to find a topic to write on. So I need to devise a topic or a strategy or a habit for writing a short piece of text every single day in order to pass the second section of this test. And then finally for speaking, I'll probably end up speaking for at least 1 minute on any topic every single day in order to improve my speaking. And even though I pass the speaking section of this test, hopefully that'll transfer into my writing abilities and improve my writing abilities so I can also eventually pass this test in the future. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I can't guarantee when I'll take this test next. It'll be probably May 2024 or December 2024, and you'll see a video man, it might be 2025 that I'll post a video saying I'll pass this. But yeah, that's my goal for the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.